Alright, let's see if this thing is working. It looks like it is. Let's go back to DCS. So for this stream, I'm going to try to fly my Apache from this base to this recon position and hit a few targets here, and then I'll fly directly back to base. I won't go to those targets. This is a mission I just flew with my good buddy Misty, but now I'm gonna try it as a broadcast just to see how well the computer and YouTube are going to handle the broadcast. So I'm gonna go click here. It's going to bring me to my briefing. This is the helicopter I'll be flying. It's an AH-64D Longbow Apache. And let's start. It's gonna load. Simulation is loading. I'm gonna take plane 32. Gonna get in the cockpit. There we go. Gonna hit fly. It's gonna load a few things. Gonna remove those labels there on objects. And we are in the cockpit. We can zoom in, zoom out. Let's just go check on. Okay, looks like the broadcast is working. So this is my helmet mounted sight. With that I can look around, and at the same time, if I want, I can point the cannon in certain areas right from my seat. In front of me there, what you see is the helmet of my co-pilot. And here, these are my instruments that I'm going to set up. The first thing I like to do is turn the lights off, and then I'm gonna set my master arm to on. I'm gonna set the weapons page. I'm gonna choose my cannon. A lot of these things I do by clicking in the cockpit. Some of them I do by clicking things on my joysticks. Now on the right MFD over here, we're gonna zoom a bit. I'm gonna check my map. I'm going to switch the type of map to digital with elevation. I'm going to select my route. We're going to head directly for waypoint 1. And so this is how I navigate. This is how I choose my weapons. Right now we have the cannon armed. If I do this, I switch to my rockets, and if I do this, I switch to my Hellfire missiles. So I'm gonna go back to the cannon. I'm gonna look out the window here, let's say pointing that direction, and if I go to the outside view, you'll see my cannon point in that direction. That's the cannon under the nose, and you can see it's pointing to the right. My pilot is the guy sitting in the back here of the helicopter, and if I turn the cannon off, you'll see it return to its original position like this. And so I'm going to go back in the cockpit, get ready, and I'll turn the cannon back on, arm it, and now we're going to arm countermeasures, and my little indicator top right helps me to know where my controls are, so we're ready for takeoff.
Rotor RPM high.
Rotor RPM high. It's normal on takeoff. Sometimes has a moment of hesitation. And we are airborne. This is the waypoint where I'm heading over there. That little base looking object. It's being projected on my eyepiece as a pilot. And the little circle you see with little wings, that tells me where my helicopter is flying. And so I'm gonna head towards the target area at low altitude, like this. So for fun, I can just show you the outside. You can see I'm flying pretty low. And so flying at 75 knots. I'm 4.6 kilometers from my recon area where I will go shoot targets. And when I'm gonna shoot, I'll go shoot from the front seat position, which is the gunner position. Do this real quick, seems to be working. Just checking on the broadcast at the same time. It's my first test, I think, since I got the new computer, doing a live with DCS. I do a few with Tarkov. Just in the last 2-3 days I did I think 3 broadcasts with Tarkov, but I haven't done a lot of DCS, so in my old computer it just didn't want to handle it, so hopefully this one's gonna work. Alright, so as I approach this city here, I'm gonna start slowing down because this is the point where I'm going to recon towards the target, where I'm going to hit targets, which will be at waypoint 2, which is in that direction there. So I'm gonna try to hover close to the buildings here, slowing down my helicopter. There's a lot of fine maneuvering going on. You can't see my hands and my joysticks moving around right now, but trying to stabilize my helicopter. I'm still driving at 60 knots. I have to bring it to 0 or just about. That's why I have my nose up. It's to slow down the helicopter. This should do it. Alright. There we go. Looks like I'm wobbling a little bit. It's normal. I'm working. Trying to keep a stable altitude and get the speed as close to 0 so that the helicopter will hover. Right now I'm at about 11 knots. I have to slow down a bit more. And now we're almost there, so we're gonna set instruments to help us achieve that. Okay, now I've sort of set the attitude hold, which will hold the helicopter more or less in this position. If I go to the outside view, you'll see that it's sort of hovering stable. It's moving a little bit, but not too much. So now I'm in the back seat. I'm going to switch to the front seat of the gunner to be able to target. So we're doing that now. As you can see, it wobbles a little bit. The computer just took over flying the helicopter for me. I'm gonna set my little camera there. I'm gonna turn off my eyepiece for the gunner. I prefer to use this big camera here. And so let's do that. And for the gunner, I'm gonna have to set my weapons on the Hellfire. There we go. So if I look towards the horizon, I should be able to spot some targets. There we go. We have some infantry running. Those are BMPs. That's a tank, a T-55. That's another BMP, and you can see little soldiers running around. Those are transport trucks. That's a little Jeep with a machine gun in the back. We call those technicals. So I'm gonna start with the tanks. Those are high value targets. Putting my camera on it, that little X turns the laser on. It tells me I'm 5.7 kilometers or 5,712 meters. I just fired my missile. You can see the smoke trail. And now I just have to point this thing on the tank and it'll blow up once the missile reaches it. At the bottom right there's a timer that says 4, 3, 2, 1 shack on the tank, and you see it's on fire. Now I saw a vehicle move by, so moving vehicles are a bit more difficult but still doable. Missile away. This is a BTR-80. It's got a big cannon that could shoot at me, so I want to shoot it before it moves close to me. You can see the little turret up front with a cannon pointed at the sky. And boom. It would appear it's on fire. So we're gonna go back to our other sets of targets. BMP, infantry have stopped close to it, so if they stay there they just might blow up with the vehicle when it explodes. War is not pretty. It's better in video games. Boom, and as you can see the two soldiers fell to the ground. Have another BMP vehicle there. It's an armored personnel carrier with cannons and missiles. Gonna shoot it. And you can see some more soldiers running there. Boom. Try to shoot that truck with the machine gun that we spotted earlier. Missile away. As you can see, there's another missile smoke trail going up there. Boom. And here there's another one of those trucks with a machine gun. Missile away. "13 seconds. They will probably never know what hit them. And boom. These are tents, trucks. Let's remove a little bit of zoom. Is there anything else that I can shoot with missiles? I can shoot anything with missiles really, but I'm not gonna waste missiles on just regular transport trucks like these, so what I will do is I'm going to tell the pilot to move forward.
Copy. Speeding up.
As you can see in the distance there are like these little smoke things. That's the vehicles that I've hit, but I'm gonna go hit these tents and whatever's there. And so I'm gonna switch back to the pilot seat. So I'm back in my pilot seat where I was originally when I started the mission. So now I'm moving forward towards these targets. I went from 0 to 100 knots. That's close to 200 miles per hour. When you fly closer to the ground, you get more the impression of speed. And since I like to drive race cars, kind of like speed. And in a war theater, you have less chances of being hit by enemy missiles if you're flying really close to the ground. if the enemies try to shoot missiles at me, what I can do is I can drop countermeasures, like, if we see them drop, check like this, there you go, you'll see them falling off. I'm doing it more for the broadcast purposes because I'm not under great danger right now. Oh, somebody was shooting at me though. There's probably some infantry guys with rifles shooting at me. I'm gonna go to my rocket pods, which are those round things that you see on the end of the wings. These contain rockets, I think 19 rockets each, and I'm gonna try to hit the enemy infantry, trucks, tents, and other things that I will find here. So I already see 2 trucks. I have to line up my lines to shoot at them. Okay, blew up some trucks there. And probably some infantry. The blue window that you see up here at the bottom right, it's like a damage assessment window. It's not something you would see in real life, but since it's a game simulation, it's nice to know what you hit. See some more targets there, or is it just bushes? I think it was just bushes. Where are the tents? I know there are tents here. Let's slow down and reassess. I'm gonna switch to my gun. Okay, I see the tents there. Here I'm killing some targets just by looking at them. It points the gun and I shoot that big 30mm thing at them. You can see some explosions there on the ground. Alright, it looks like I've managed to eliminate this position that was held by insurgents. So what I'll do now is I'm going to set my waypoint to the base, waypoint 4, and I'm going to fly back. So this point I see ahead of me is where I took off from earlier. Just gonna check the broadcast, seems to be still working. And so we're gonna head home and go land this helicopter. Oh, somebody's shooting there. Where is it? Always danger. Dropped a few countermeasures just in case. One of those guys had an infrared missile. What happens is that the infrared missile might follow the flares, which emit a lot of heat. Let's go dance with the olive trees. Yippee! Alright. 13 feet above the ground. 200 miles an hour. Or just about. I should say 200 kilometers an hour. It's 100 nautical miles per hour that I'm going, so in miles per hour it would probably be like a little bit higher, like 120, 130. Now I'm at 112, so yeah. But you do get that impression of speed when you look sideways like that. I prefer to look forward when I'm dancing in between the trees. It's almost poetic flying these things. They're tools of war, but they're fun to fly. I am one with the machine. And now I've come back to the airfield. We're gonna pop up and slow down. And you can see here there are some hangars. There are some parked aircraft. And this is actually the spot where we took off from. So I'm gonna try to go land in the exact spot where I took off from. So we're gonna slow down. We're going to look at some of the transport planes we have here. Look at that. Big C-130 Hercules here. USAF. And we're going to slow down. Often like to tell my friends is that you can't really be in a hurry when you're in a helicopter. Gotta do things precisely and slowly. And now we're on the ground. And if we look outside, that's pretty much the spot where I took off from earlier. So I hope you enjoyed this little flight with me. Put the gun in the stow position. And we will end the broadcast.